I'd like to welcome you to this episode of our Take 5 series, where we are focusing on dealing with some of the conflicts that we come across in our families. This program is brought to you by the Chisipite Seventh-day Adventist Church, particularly the Women's Ministries Department. Today, we want to look at another chapter in the life of David, where again he found himself in conflict or in continued conflict with King Saul. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 1 and 2, we find Saul, who has failed. He has made an attempt to kill David before, and he has failed. And he now enlists the support of Jonathan, his son, as well as his servants, and he gives them an instruction that they must kill David whenever they see him and whenever they have opportunity to kill him. So what we notice is that the vendetta that Saul had from the time that David was celebrated by the women of Israel and Saul started eyeing David has continued to brew within himself. And now this hate, this intense hate that he has now spilled over to the entire household that surrounds Saul. And he gives instruction to them that they must kill David whenever they see him. But what is interesting is that his very own son, Jonathan, who is a friend to David, but remember, he is also David's brother-in-law. Jonathan sees the injustice and he refuses to take part in it. He refuses to be complicit to what his father is demanding of him. How I wish that in our families we had more people like Jonathan, people who would stand for the right, people who would defend those in our families that we often pursue with so much vengeance, when in actual fact they have done nothing wrong. Oftentimes, what we also see in families is that if I have a problem with a sibling, that sibling, if they are influential in the family, they will then start rallying other family members around them to then also join into this conflict, and we find that this individual, or in this instance, you would find that you are then being persecuted by not just the individual that has a problem with you, but all those that are on their side. The same obtains in our places of work. Have you noticed that sometimes you are disliked at work because you spoke up against corruption or something, and then those who are corrupt will then form an alliance and gang up against you and seek to discredit you, seek to even have you fired from your place of work. Sometimes we experience the same in our churches too. And I know that as women we like this a lot, where if I am in conflict with another lady, the next thing I will be doing is I will be making sure that all my friends automatically dislike that lady too. And these are occurrences that we encounter on a day-to-day basis in the various family situations that we find ourselves in. So what can we learn from how David handled this particular chapter in his life? What can we learn about how we can better able to navigate these situations when we come across them? There are 3 lessons that I would like to highlight. The first lesson is that envy that is left unchecked, envy that is allowed to grow within us, can soon escalate into a family conflict. And we have seen so many cases of families where a feud that took place between 2 siblings has now crossed 1 generation, 2 generations, and 3 generations even. So let us be very careful of how we deal with internal issues that we may have as individuals, or a problem that I may have with another member of the family, such that these conflicts don't end up engulfing the entire clan. And it is also important to realize that if we do not seek reconciliation at this level where it is just me and another member, if we don't sit down, talk about the conflict, resolve it, we may find that it becomes more and more difficult to deal with that conflict as generations come. Because by then, people don't even know the reason why you hate your uncle or you hate your tete, who is said to be a Muroi. And therefore, it becomes that much more difficult to deal with those conflicts. The second point is that be careful not to be used as a hand to fight another's battle. Avoid getting into conflicts that have nothing to do with you. How many times as family members have we found ourselves spreading malicious rumors about another family members, which are unfounded, unverified, refuse to be used by those that have scores to settle that you don't know anything about? So what am I saying? What I'm also saying is learn as a family member to develop independence of thought towards the other. Learn to base your relationship with fellow family members and your attitude towards them on what you have experienced, not what you have heard. The third lesson is that even if most of your family turns against you, there is bound to be a Jonathan in your family. There is bound to be one person that will stand for the right. And so what I'm also saying is, in your family, choose to be the Jonathan. Choose to be the one that will vindicate that person that is being vilified. Choose to be the one that will go to that individual and warn them of the impending danger. And let us then, if a Jonathan comes to you, be true to that Jonathan. Acknowledge them. And forever hold that Jonathan close to your heart. Because in these days that we live in, there are very few Jonathans in our lives.
Take 5 is a show produced by the Chizipiti Church, a fountain of love, and is made possible by support from many partners. If you wish to follow more of our studies on these and many other subjects, please connect with us on the Chizipiti SDA Church on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Like our platforms and share with us your comments. We also have our plug-in team ready to pray with you and encourage you through life's challenges. So please connect with us and would love to pray with you. We can't wait to hear from you. And remember, when life seems to drown you, just take a moment, take a break, and take 5 to reflect.
May the Lord bless us. May He enable us to stand for the right in our families and to seek and pursue justice for those in our families that are being maligned unnecessarily.